It's not taken away. I don't have to go through this electoral bond scheme. I can still pay by RTGS, direct banking transfer, or through check. But then my identity would be disclosed. If I wish that to remain confidential, then electoral bond.
The moment an electoral bond is tendered to a political party by a constituent,
the party would know.
The party knows it.
Correct, Manoj. What the donor doesn't want to is the other party should not know. Well, that's an utopian dream. That's an idealistic dream. We have to formulate a policy based on practicalities.
I was just going through some paper. There was a very interesting discussion why the trust scheme came into force. How the trusts, in fact, in 1996, one big group, corporate group, with over 100 companies has set up a trust.
Correct.
And
let us. Yes.
I didn't want to take it. So and the money from all those trust companies or the group companies will come in the trust, and then they will distribute and give it to different parties. The idea behind the trust was that the trust may be of 5 or more than 5. The money will come into the trust. The trust will then distribute the money. So nobody knows. The companies will give instructions to the trust to give to A, B, or C party. But nobody knows which company has given that money. But what happened was 2013 scheme of the Election Commission made it mandatory to disclose which company is directed to give the payment. So that scheme virtually failed because of that. It had a contrary impact.
Yes, but still, as a matter
that's somebody's point of view. I'm not saying that's a right point of view or wrong point of view.
No, correct, but as a matter of fact, the trust scheme still continues. One can have trust, and the same system can be adopted. Few companies can gather together and create a trust. Trust is a misnomer. It's a Section 25 company. Nothing turns on that, but it is nomenclature is trust. But one fact, inadvertently, we admit that the moment the question of disclosure of the donor comes, the scheme fails. As it failed in trust. Because that is the disincentive, The incentivizing factor for the purpose of paying by cash is secrecy, the confidentiality. Secrecy and anonymity is a negative connotation. I am using the expression confidentiality. What I am submitting is that Honorable Finance Minister is also saying that we have started a process, may not be a foolproof process. Some element of transparency would be introduced in as much as all donors declare in their account the amount of bonds that they have purchased, and all parties declare the quantum of bonds. How much each donor has distributed to a political party would be known only to the donor. This is necessary because once this disclosure is made, past experience has shown donors would not find the scheme attractive and would go back to less desirable option of donating by cash. Look, this is the experience, the view of the lawmakers. That if this confidentiality is not ensured, people go to the earlier regime. In fact, the choice has now to be consciously made between the existing system of substantial cash donations, which involves total unclean money and is non-transparent, and the new scheme which gives the option to the donors to donate through entirely a transparent method of check, online transaction, or through electoral bonds. But it is, if I want to disclose my identity, I can pay by check. It's not taken away. I don't have to go through this electoral bond scheme. I can still pay by RTGS, direct banking transfer, or through check. But then my identity would be disclosed. If I wish that to remain confidential, then electoral bond. But I have very seriously, and I am bound to, considered the concerns which your lordships have shown as custodian of fundamental rights of the citizens. And the government is proud about it, that your lordships are concerned. And I have some solutions to offer so that that concern also can be addressed. And your lordships would find the bona fides of the government that we really do not want to know who has donated whom what amount. Let the confidentiality remain complete. except under the court order. I'll say, my lord, as and when, my lord, that a part of the scheme comes.
But that, Mr. Solicitor, you know anyway who has donated what amount. The moment an electoral bond is tendered to a political party by a constituent,
The party would know.
the party knows it.
Correct, my lords. What the donor doesn't want is the other party should not know. My lord, kindly, my lord, appreciate the example which, my lord, which will
Other
be
political
comfortable to Mr. Sibal. I'm just on the lighter side. Suppose, my lord, as a contractor, I donate to, say, Congress party. I don't want BJP to know because it might form a government in the next
Friend has
election.
forgotten I'm not in the Congress party.
You appear for a Congress person
Maybe
from
so.
Madhya Pradesh,
Maybe
and
so.
therefore I'm saying.
You are appearing for a government, you're not part of that party.
Absolutely not.
So I'm also not
No,
part
I am just putting
just-
myself as a
of
contractor.
that example I thought was a bit.
Yes, yes. Well, my learned friend's client is a leader of a Congress party
That's all right.
in Madhya Pradesh. Well, therefore, I'm giving the example of Madhya Pradesh, and I'm saying that a contractor wants to donate to Congress would have an apprehension that BJP might continue to be in power, or vice versa. If he gives donation to the ruling party in Madhya Pradesh, he might have a element of fear that Congress might form the government. That confidentiality the donor wants to, my lord, ensure. And that is not for me to judge. That is for the lawmakers to judge. And the lawmakers, my lord, felt in the parliament that this is the most incentivized way of, my lord, black money generation and black money payment in the political process. That's their view.
But what about the voters' right? As Justice Chagla has pointed out
My lord, let me conclude.
long years back.
My lord, that is a wider choice, my lord. But that would be a separate debate. My lord, voters' right, my lord, is to know what party gets what information. But I would not choose to vote for a particular party because Mr. X, the contractor, has given electoral contribution to a party. Well, that's an utopian dream. That's an idealistic dream. We have to formulate a policy based on practicalities involved. Well, otherwise, we will not be able to, my lord, your lordships have a very heavy responsibility on your lordship's shoulders. That is encouraging clean money to come into the system and discouraging those elements which compelled the people to use the black money. So, my lord, the transparency, democratic principles, right to know, etc., they are idealistic things, and I bow down to those principles. But when we formulate a policy, we must formulate a policy, my lord, which balances purity of election is supreme over right to know. Voter votes not based upon which party is funded by whom. Voter votes based upon the ideology of the party, the principles of the party, the leadership of the party, the efficiency of the party, and how, my lord, the business houses vote, whether this party's government is giving me a sufficiently good environment to secure my investment. It's not always quid pro quo. As a businessman, I would choose that this party government, whenever it is formed, there is red tapeism, there is corruption, there is interference by the ministers, there is interference by the MLAs. As against that, X party, when it forms the government, it is policy-based decisions, not individual-based decisions. My investment is secured. There is a business-friendly environment, less red tapeism, and therefore I would like this government to be formed. And that's the business interest of every business owner.